And we're live. It's the Beach Brothers Show. We're both residents of Virginia Beach, and we love Virginia. So we have our business and political talk show so we can interview business people and candidates and seated politicians and just talk about the business of Virginia. I'm Seko Varner, your serial entrepreneur, educator, and entertainer. And this guy loves Vibe Beach so much, running for city council. That's crazy, right? How you doing, Conrad?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Doing very well. I think we're about to enter what is known as phase 2 for Virginia opening up this Friday and changing some of the rules regarding the pandemic stuff. So, hopefully we're all ready to go for that.
I think so. This has been challenging. You know, we've had a number of people who've been open up Virginia and pushing that heavily. And it's a quandary because you have the health aspect and you have the fiscal health aspect. And truly, for our physical health to be at its optimal, our fiscal health has to be healthy. Does that make sense?
Sort of like two pairs. You got to have both working simultaneously. If one falls, the other one's going to fall apart just as well.
Absolutely. So how we handle that as a state, you know, I don't make those big decisions. So I don't know, but that's challenging. That's challenging. I know that the church that I attend didn't open its doors on Sunday. There were other churches that did open its doors since they've been deemed a critical, what's the term?
Essential service.
So the houses of worship are considered essential services now. And that's intriguing. That's really intriguing. I don't know if that's a good thing, it's a bad thing, but it's definitely intriguing. I do know that for America to work, America has to go to work.
True.
Right. And for America to work, we have to have some hope and we have to have some faith that things are going to work out. And oh, good. Miss Whitney's going to be joining us a little bit. We'll talk more about working with her. So it's just an interesting quandary that we're in. Yeah, and I don't have the answer. I'm not sure if anybody does.
I think we're all sort of working as our version of a best guess in terms of guessing and checking to see what works. It's just, I would like to have a little bit of faith in, you could say, the process in terms of knowing that we're facing communicable, disease, and we don't want to overexert ourselves to try to rush to normal, which would just make what was already abnormal even worse. So I want to make sure we don't get so scared we stop doing any forms of business, but also, so I want to use the phrase ignorant but indifferent to the danger, and you just ignore the possibility of spreading it due to your own not caring. So you got to
Right.
inflate the needle.
Right. Hey, salute to Madagascar. They're doing something right. Salute to Madagascar. Hey, I want to take this time to holler and recognize our sponsor for the night. I just went through a business workshop that was given by Tally and Twine. And Tally and Twine is a local company that provides high quality watches. Right now, a portion of their sales will be donated to help doctors and nurses get some of the life-saving resources that they need so we can continue to be America. But Tally and Twine is a local shop that has watches based in Portsmouth, Virginia. I purchased them online. Actually, my wife purchased a Tally and Twine watch for me, and I tell you, I love it. I absolutely love it. So check them out, Tally and Twine. That's our sponsor for today. We want to thank Tally and Twine for all the great information they provided to make the Beach Brothers show even better. And so, Brother Conrad, who do we have coming on the show with us today?
Well, I would like to say that tonight we're going to have on a more business-focused show. The Beach Brothers has been featuring a star of Virginia Beach tonight, and we've been so fortunate to have on many political candidates, and we will again soon. but we're
Right.
here to speak on business and politics as like an aggregate, as a combination of them. And I would want to introduce my friend Whitney King. She's a mompreneur, a single mother of 2 children. She's the owner of not one but 2 Hampton Roads businesses. She serves as the COO of Community Direct Services, and I thank her for having me out to the grand reopening of the business as their near headquarters in the Bayside District. It was also great to have last week's special guest, Virginia Beach City Councilwoman and 2020 candidate Sabrina Wooten, at that same event. And Whitney also serves as a CEO of Leaf Behavior Support. She has a BA in sociology from South Carolina State University. And what makes Whitney particularly important as a Beach Brothers guest is her drive for the future. She wants to expand an outreach program for others. And Whitney's outreach program is entitled The Village. And it shares 757 resources every Sunday for those who need it. And I understand a little bit right now that, hey, as I switch away from my reading material, you are officially on the show. So that is good. And we at the Beach Brothers would like to start off with your thoughts on Virginia Beach business. What is Virginia Beach business like in May of 2020 compared to May of 2019?
Well, first off, good evening, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so honored to be the first business guest that you all have online. I love being a trailblazer. And I like Italian wine too. I got my dad one and he loves it. So business in 2019 compared to 2020, as we know, is definitely different, especially because of the pandemic that we're facing. I think that alone just changes everything. Moving forward is just going to change the way that business is operated altogether. There's no more normal, So I've been encouraging everyone to just go ahead and get accustomed to the fact that what we knew is no longer. We will be adjusting to a new normal.
Yeah. We're definitely adjusting. And I think that the concept of normalcy is going to become passé. Things are happening so quickly with technology. And now that things are happening so quickly with the ways that we interact, normalcy is passé. It's definitely passé. Wow. But we're glad to have you on the show tonight. And wow, I understand that you're involved in 2 businesses. Wow. So
yes.
Can you break down those businesses? One of them is Leaf and the other is Community Direct Services. Tell me a little bit about them.
So Community Direct Services we're actually just celebrating 15 years of service in the Hampton Roads from our fearless leader, Mr. Kerry Lomax. He's the CEO there. And Community Direct Services and Leaf are basically sister companies. So they talk to one another. Community Direct Services provide support of in-home, sponsor residential, companion, respite, and personal assistance services to people with intellectual, developmental, and or mental health co-diagnoses. And Leaf is more strictly based on your behavior supports. So I'm the head behavior specialist, and we go in and provide training to other organizations that also support people with intellectual and developmental disabilities that may have the waiver or CSA funding or private pay, as well as tutoring specifically for youth that have IEPs, 504 plans, or behavior intervention plans. So the core of our services are to support those who need an extra voice and to become a part of their village. Okay.
Good stuff. I salute that. I'm a special education teacher. I have over 15 years.
I started out as one.
Yeah. Boop for the teachers out there. Particularly those from VA, 2 up and 2 down for VA teachers. We love you. We love what you're doing. And I think a lot of people are now realizing how important teachers are in their role. And in terms
it reminded me.
I also want to salute Brother Kerry Lomax. He's a good friend of mine. I've known Kerry for over 20 years. And I've been so proud of the work that he's done with, Community Direct Services and the fact that he works with people who have challenges. says a lot. And the fact that you work with people who have challenges and you're a way maker, you're helping them find an ease to their challenge. They're finding ways to achieve some of their dreams through some of your efforts. It's a beautiful thing. It's truly a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Well,
and it's all person-centered. So everything we do is structured around the person in need. There's no one size, no one approach fits everyone. Everything we do is literally tailored to the person in question.
Well, that is really good stuff. And here I'm the political buff. So I'm curious if there are differences or perhaps obstacles you may note with city government regulation. Perhaps there's something you wish to convey that you wish was changed. Also, I know you're balancing a lot as a business owner and business operator in this great city. Is the city or the state of Virginia or the U.S. government doing enough to help businesses in this area?
You know, I think that everyone works within the scope of what they have resources to. And I also understand that there's oftentimes this invisible tape that we all wish would go away. I will say that I love what Councilwoman Wooten has been doing. I relocated to Virginia to join Community Direct Services in 2016. And that has been a face and name that I've seen as it pertains to just the city and business. So I think, you know, she set a standard in my eyes as to what that role even needs to look like. I don't even know, you know, what else someone would do in that role. You know, I know myself, anything that I've been able to reach out to her, she and her team are always very responsive. Whereas I may have reached out to other, you know, entities within the city and just didn't get a response. So that makes me a little disheartened, because it almost seems as though people respond based on who they know and not the fact that I'm a citizen of this city. And if I have a question, it should be answered, no matter as to if my name is big or not, if your name is going to be in lights or not. And I will say that's one thing about Councilwoman Wooten. She just gets it done. And like I said, she's really set a bar in my eyes as to what needs to be done in pertains to in regards to working with the city officials, business owners, and even just as a citizen.
Interesting. Well, I may have mentioned that I did intensive in-home services for over 15 years. So I kind of have a little bit of an understanding of some of the services that your firm provides, Carey Firms provides. How has our quarantine impacted the way that we provide services to our clients?
So we have taken an approach of doing, one, we've had to pull out of the homes quite a bit. And actually what we've done is, the way our business is structured, we have what are called support coordinators that typically reach out to the families monthly. That's who our staff go to first when they need something. One thing we've done is ask all of our support coordinators to remain in the office, and myself and Mr. Lomax have been going to homes directly ourselves if anyone needs anything. And that was really just to minimize the exposure of our employees. We've also had a lot of employees that are not working at the moment, and that's just because families have made a choice to pause services. And I will say that since you're familiar with how this industry works, I was very delighted to see that families who don't utilize their services during this time wouldn't be forced to lose their slots, because I'm sure you know how hard it is to get on those waiver lists. So I was very glad to see that they're keeping everyone paused right now and they're not holding that against anyone. So we've had a few families that have chosen to not receive services right now, and I totally get it. It's okay. But what we've been doing in the meantime is also, you know, following up, checking up, making sure everyone has what they need, reminding them the importance of continuity of care, just so that progress is not lost. You know, I know these are new times, which is, you know, pretty scary for a lot of people. So we're very patient with everyone that, you know, has been going through this stuff. We've provided masks to our employees, especially those that work with more than one person, because we do have people that have kind of created their own load. And we've always been very flexible as it pertains to scheduling. we work around the families and the staff. So we don't force you to pick a shift. We work around your availability. And I think that has come in handy for a lot of people during these times that no one has seen coming. We've taken a lot of our trainings virtual. So we've had to bend, we've had to pivot. That's been a word that we've seen in business as all of this stuff is going on, and that's pivot. So we've been doing that, and I think we were able to kind of stay ahead of that a little bit because we're already thinking ahead. We're always thinking ahead. So us having to shift, it caught us off guard, I'd say, for a brief moment, but I'm very pleased that we were able to get back on top of that and continue to service families. So everyone that's still, with CDS has been receiving their services as usual. Our employees are still, receiving their support as usual. We've had to adjust the way everyone comes into the office, make appointments versus, Conrad, you've been there. It's very open door. You can come in anytime you want. But we've had to change it more to an appointment style just so we can control who's in the building and make sure everyone who's visiting sits in a certain part of the building so we can kind of control things.
Has demand gone up or down?
Demand, it's about the same, honestly. So initially we saw a drop, and I think that's just because of the mixed facts, the alternative facts that were coming out on social media and everything else, kind of had everybody, a little shaken and taken aback, which we understood. We didn't make anyone feel bad for wanting to pause on those services or anything like that. And I think that shows the faith that our families have in us, and that we've already had a high standard and quality of care that a lot of the families that we support were willing to just still go through this. And they trusted that we were going to have their best interests at heart, which we always do. So I think that's, very indicative of that. The fact that we have not seen a tremendous decrease or decline in services. I'm very proud of that, as someone that oversees operations. And my directors have been phenomenal throughout this entire thing. Everyone, even our DSPs, we've seen a few. I've seen a few because, like I said, I go out to the houses myself. I don't ask anyone in our organization to do what we won't do. Mr. Lomax and I pride ourselves on that. So they'll see us out every now and then. They're like, you're at a home? Of course we are. How are you today? So we're stopping to check on everybody, see how they're doing. How are your kids? Everybody's holding up. Do you need a resource? I think some churches were handing out toiletries and things, and we have a communication app that we've reinstated. We already had it in place, but now people are taking it a little more seriously so they can get that information right away. So we have that, and we're just sharing resources to make sure people have what they need.
Now, this may be more of a general topic, but by design, it touches a political theme and themes with your business. Mental health is itself an industry, but vastly underserved compared to what it should be. Some may use the phrase mental health to wax poetic on gun laws. Some may say something like Medicare for all as a means to pay for health care. But could you talk on mental health itself, what you think is needed, and how you think you and people like yourself make it more served going forward?
So when it comes to mental health, we've collaborated, let's say, with one organization in particular, Milestone Mental Health Agency. They focus directly on mental health skill building, crisis stabilization, and things of that nature. We've always had a good rapport with REACH, and that's something that we've also inclined families and DSPs to utilize if that's needed. We focus more so on the intellectual and developmental disabilities, but we're very well aware that a lot of the people we support have mental health diagnoses along with that. We've also made sure to take care of the mental health of our employees and our families. So that's making sure they have what they need, the resources, and that they have an outlet as well, because this whole thing has been detrimental to everyone. I was talking on my show one Sunday about the fact that the anxiety that everyone is feeling right now is due to our system being jammed, because we typically have what's called fight or flight when we're dealing with danger. But with this virus, you can't run from it, nor can you see it to fight it. So that's caused an abundance of anxiety in everyone. So going forward, the city and the state as a whole, I will hope that they keep the mental health resources available that they've expanded during this time. They've allowed for a lot of telehealth right now. I think that's phenomenal, and it's going to allow a lot of people to receive the support they need as far as outpatient services and just access to a mental health counselor in the comfort of their own home. Because even, let's say, Governor Northam says, hey, we're good to go, we're in phase 3, let's open up. Everyone's still not going to go because they have that anxiety inside of them, and I don't fault them for that. It's very understandable. Even myself, when I first had to wear the mask, I had to process it myself. I had an anxiety attack in Walmart. I had to get out of the store because I'm claustrophobic. So having that mask on and seeing all these people with masks kind of freaked me out for a moment. So I also want to make sure other people realize the professionals are dealing with this too. We get it. We're all literally in this together. So moving forward, I really hope that a lot of the mental health resources remain in place because they're going to be needed for a long time due to this pandemic.
You mentioned that we're all in this together. I kind of look at it as we're not all on the same boat, but we're all in the same storm.
Yes.
But it looks like a lot of us are. There are some things that are going very challengingly through this process, but I'm sure there's some things that are going right. So what's going right? When you look at the way our government has responded, our local government, our federal government, when you look at the way our school systems has responded, when you look at the way that your industry has responded to the situation, what's going right?
I will say, number one, I was very impressed when Governor Northam began laying out his phases. I stopped what I was doing and listened to him. And the fact, maybe it's the statistician in me, but I was very thrilled to see, observable and measurable numbers as to what would happen when it was time for us to go into the next phase and the next phase. So I thought that was a really good sign of leadership from him. And it made me feel really good when I saw that come down. Beyond that, locally, having to close everything, I'm sure that impacted a lot of businesses. And unfortunately, there will be businesses that aren't able to recover from that. And I really, that my heart breaks for them because I know firsthand how it feels to utilize everything you have for this vision bigger than yourself. And then something completely out of your control, knocks it off. So, I think, even the people who attempted to apply for the PPP assistance and things of that nature, I know from what I understand, a lot of people still weren't eligible for it. So, my heart definitely goes out to those people. But I think locally, seeing how officers have been responding, I think the numbers have been really low in terms of crime. It's starting to warm up, so I'm sure we'll see a little uptick soon. But I was very pleased for quite a while to see that, crime rates were low. They were releasing people for, very low crimes, not taking people in or, not serious criminal offenses and things of that nature. And it just makes you wonder, going beyond this, were those things that these people were being charged with and locked up for, was it even serious to begin with? We're able to reduce those things now. So, but that's another topic.
Well, no, that's intriguing. You caught me there. So we had people who were paying their debt to society, who were given waived sentences. So some of them didn't pay, a few. Most of them had time taken off. Do you think that was safe? And was that fair to the law-abiding citizens of?
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know, I don't have a list of what the crimes were that got waived and things of that nature. But let's say it was for, failure to pay a tax or something. No, I'm not mad that you let this person out because you should have set up a payment plan to begin with. I just don't think some of those things like that, those are things that I feel like can be, taken care of in litigation versus, a whole trial, locked up, things of that nature. If you lock them up for, let's say, tax, not paying a fee, how are they going to pay it in jail? We know how they'll pay it, but this doesn't benefit the person or their family. So moving forward, let's reassess and see if these are really truly offenses that need to take people out of their homes and unable to provide for their families. Because now that some of these people have been released from jail, they may have been able to find jobs to help, because maybe the other parent lost their job due to the pandemic. So it's bigger than that. It's just a bigger picture that has to be looked at when it comes to this stuff. When someone is being locked up for an offense like that, that's taking a breadwinner out of somebody's home.
Yeah. And I realized that was a personal question. I asked for your personal opinion.
Yeah.
Which may not necessarily reflect the views, the values, procedures, and policies of community direct services. Her opinions are her opinions, to put it real smoothly. But it's really intriguing because those of us who deal in healthcare, mental health care, we've had to make some decisions that were politically very unpopular with many of our peers who don't work in that area. And now we're dealing with those same peers who are like, open up VA, open up VA, open up VA. And we're like, we ain't ready.
No, right. We're good. Let us keep taking it slow.
Yeah, it's just kind of intriguing how, depending upon your walk in life, possibly career walk in life, your vantage point and your views are really going to be really supported by. Yeah, it's kind of
it constantly changes, and I think that's a part of evolving just as a person. The things that we encounter create our truths, and that's what our truths are based on, our experiences.
Right. So helping people create truths, is that something that's one of the foundational aspects of the services that your firm provides?
Well, we definitely like to take whatever you believe your truth to be and help you find things that'll help you support that, so that you come to a final decision that this is my truth, or you begin to think about other things that, maybe I should explore this option. Now, I will say I get into that a little more on the outreach side of the village, just because with the village, we're discussing family dynamics, relationships, special education, financial literacy, all of that stuff. And the point of the village is really just because we all have information that someone else needs. And when we work collectively together as a village, we can all go ahead. That's personal to me because a few years ago, I was not where I am now. And I'm very forthgiving with that information. Had it not been for a village along the way, I would not see the level of success that I do. I have a best friend to thank for that. When I was going through a divorce and pregnant with my son, she gave me a place to lay my head. I have another, mother of 5 who watched my kids while I was building my business. She became a second mother to my kids and saw them way more than me. When I relocated to Virginia Beach, more villagers. I embrace village. I don't know everything, and I want people to begin to embrace that as well. None of us know everything, but I guarantee you know something that I need. I may know something you need. And the more we talk about it, we can figure this out and everybody can just get ahead.
That's what's up. Brother Conrad, I know you have one of those groundbreaking questions that you're going to drop on us. Go ahead and drop that, brother.
Well, Ms. Whitney, Seko and I have known each other since at least 2018 when we were fellow candidates. And since that time, we've been talking about trying to help the same things. And Seko is big on positivity for 757 young men, specifically helping grow individuals with the Hampton Roads Committee of 200 plus men and other organizations. We've been discussing economic cooperation too, and want to make a positive impact deep into minority communities with economics. You're a woman on the front lines of all that. What are some important next steps in your eyes?
As it pertains to positivity and young men, I think I missed the end part.
Well, we can also add young women to that too. That's what Seko originally been addressing, but this is for the entirety of the communities, but starting from perhaps underserved communities and then moving upwards.
Okay. So again, I think that comes back to what I was discussing with the village. One, just encouraging everyone to, share what they know. As it pertains to getting back to business, I think following the guidelines that are put in place by the city, the CDC, and things of that nature, having a little patience, because again, we need to be reminded that nothing is going back to the way it was. I know we can recall growing up and hearing some of our elders, oh, back in my day, XYZ. Well, now it's going to be us saying back in my day to other people, because we're old enough to remember what it used to be. So I think some important next steps are, again, just being very self-aware, being honest about where you are, what you need support with, and not being afraid to reach out for those supports. Remain optimistic. If you need to tap into mental health resources, parenting resources, some workshops, anything of that nature, it's okay. It's okay to do that. None of us can go at it alone. So that's what I think are some important next steps to moving forward and just, moving beyond COVID.
That's intriguing. That's intriguing. Is there still a stigma in the community for people accessing help when they need help, mental health?
Oh, absolutely. That was one of the reasons. So initially the show, it was myself, a psychiatrist from Restoration Behavioral Health Services, and again, my dear friend Alexandria from Milestone. The three of us came together to create the 757 Mental Health Network. And that was really to help people begin to remove the stigma around receiving supports, whether it was for special education, IED, DD, or mental health. Just don't be afraid to do that. But when you think of the word mental health, for whatever reason over the years, that has a stigma in itself. And when you get down into the core of the way special education services have evolved since, the 60s alone, we're not even going to talk about prior to the 60s because it, rocked the mind, but how it's evolved over time, even from the 90s, there were just things that are etched in a lot of our heads as what that looks like and what type of people receive certain supports. And the fact of the matter is everyone needs supports in some area. So again, if you need it, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for it. It doesn't have to be a huge show, but it also shouldn't be this daunting task that makes you feel as though you're less than something because you need a resource. Because I'm sure you'd be willing to give a resource.
Yeah. Okay. But there still is that stigma, and I'm glad to know that you were part of that fight to, minimize the stigmata that we have when it comes to getting help. And
very important to me to do that.
It is, Charlemagne the God or Charlemagne the fraud, depending on which aisle you end up on.
He's an SC State lover. We can't do that. He loves my Bulldogs. Go NC State. No.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, depending upon where you fall, which aisle you fall on, he's been a big proponent and been very transparent with obtaining and receiving, psychological services. And so it's good to see more and more people. My background's in counseling. So, I said I did the intensive in-home counseling, but also did school counseling and some other forms of counseling. I know how important it is. I know I went through counseling. I know that my mother and my father, both as counseling professionals, both had counselors they checked in with. And I think it's important that our mental health is as important as paying to go to Bally's or paying to go to Planet Fitness. Hey, health is health.
One thing I've discovered is when it comes to health, it's a circle. So your physical health won't be in check if your mental health isn't in check. Your financial won't be in check unless it all ties together. Right. So it's not one is more important than the other. So I said, everyone wants to do these vacations to run away from problems that are going to follow them where they're going, or they're going to be there when you get back.
Right.
It's not the solution.
And most
deal with it head on. And I think the more things you're involved in, the more likely you should want to tap in to have a resource like that. I have a therapist that I check in with. I think everyone needs one. I encourage my children, the same thing, just like we have a financial coach. What's wrong with having one for your mind? You don't try to do surgery on yourself. I see everyone was freaking out about not getting their manicures and pedicures. They want to do it themselves, but no one wants to go make sure their mind is right.
Intriguing. Yeah, I think it's always important to have someone that guides and taps in and just kind of helps you fine tune. When you look at the best performers, all of them have coaches. So like Faith Evans was Mary J. Blige's vocal coach. Whitney Houston had a vocal coach. If you look at all the great players who play on football, basketball, all the balls, all of them have coaches. Why? So they can be on top of their game. The president has his cabinet. Yeah, the president has his cabinet. Why? So he or she can be on top of their game. It's so important to have somebody that can coach you, and it's so important. So I'm glad that you're on top of things with that. Brother Conrad, any last thoughts?
Well, I think before we decide to try to wind this down, I wanted to touch on the marketing packages that you offer to those around you to help them and other businesses in the community.
Yes, so Professor Whitney in the Village is a weekly radio segment that airs on Praise Radio. And I offer these sponsorship packages that not only allow you to market your business, but it helps keep the show on the air. And again, that's bringing information to the village. So according to what package you select, which one of the lowest ones is $29.99. So it starts as low as that and then goes up from there according to what you want. So it's very budget friendly. It allows you to get your business out in front of several people that either come to the station, listen to the show. I also stream it across podcasts and Facebook, on there, and then it streams on 5 radio stations and live. So you have the potential for your business to go across several platforms multiple times and then replays as an investment in yourself and the village. So you can join the village by emailing info@learnwithleaf.com. And I would be happy to share those packages with anyone that is interested in supporting the village.
That's what's up. Leaf, Learn with Leaf. You may have said it earlier. I need to hear it again. And what does the acronym LEAF stand for?
So LEAF is a learning environment. Did you say it earlier? For all families. It's a learning environment for all families.
Okay, cool. And is that on Doc Christian station that you're on?
Yes.
Okay. Yo, salute to Doc Christian. He's been doing things big for years. Hey, we have one of our guests who wanted to leave a nice comment. Post a link to her marketing packages. Oh, somebody wants to spend some money with you, Ma. Somebody wants to spend some money with you.
Absolutely. Right, so I would love to. And if you visit the website, you will see the email address. If in case you missed it, the website is www.learnwithleaf.com. And you can also email info@learnwithleaf.com and just put sponsorship packages, and then I'd be happy to forward that information to you. And thank you in advance for your support.
Good stuff. Learnwithleaf.com. Wow. What's it like doing the show every week?
I love it. It's interesting because this has always been something on my little business board. Right. So I get to yap and people want to hear me yap. So I love it.
That's what's up. Oh, why Doc Station?
Well, that was actually as a part of the collaboration that I was doing with the 757 Mental Health Network. So Dr. Thompson actually knew someone within the station and brought us along for the ride. And since then, she's gotten swamped with growing her business. Alexandria as well with Milestone is taking off as well. And I'm very busy as well, but I really wanted to always do this. So the opportunity was there. and they're really becoming one of the only stations that'll bring this information, such as tips for advocacy, special education. I'm always looking for guests. I would love to have some principals, superintendents, things of that nature, just so, you know, people can hear about why the choices were made the way they were for how schools, you know, ended the school year, plans for next, you know, things of that nature. Mental health counselors. I love that you're a male in mental health. You know, that's not something we see very much. And I think our men need to hear more that it's okay. It's okay to cope and have coping strategies. So I would love to have you on as well. You know, so we just talk about different things. Like I said, it's family, relationships, special education, receiving services, navigating services, how you can get started. We had a young lady on from the iSafe program a few weeks ago. We talked about the foster care process. So we talk about some of everything, autism, all of that. So it's about the village. Anything that you could think of a family needing, we're going to talk about it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So if you're one of our watchers, our viewers, our beachers, get in contact with Miss King. She has something for you. She has an opportunity for you. And your opportunity is not just going to help yourself, it's going to help a wide array of people. So any last words?
Never about me. I'm always taken care of by taking care of people.
Got you. Got you. Any last words?
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm so honored to be, again, you know, your first business guest, Tally and Twine. I'm going to call you because my daddy loves your watches. And I hope you become a sponsor on the radio show too.
Okay, she calling you up.
Again, feel free to reach out if I can be of support to you in any way. I truly feel that I'm a vessel. I absolutely love what I do. I cannot see myself doing anything else. I love supporting families. I love helping families understand what to do beyond the professional help. You know, the therapists eventually have to go home, and it's important that you know what to do to keep everything going and consistent. So if I can be of assistance to you, whether it's for community direct services or LEAF, which again, they work hand in hand, please feel free to reach out to myself or Mr. Lomax. We'd be very delighted to assist you.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for stopping through and spending time with the Beach Brothers and the beach heads out there. All right. All right. So, let's give it up for Sister King. That was hot, man. That was hot. She's a good person. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, before we bounce off of this, I wanted to highlight another business. Can I take that quick moment and do so?
Go right ahead.
Okay, good, good, good. Look, this firm does some magnificent work. This firm is advocating for kids. And, you know, sometimes we need somebody to step up and say, things need to change. Sometimes we need advocates. So if, you know, you're a family and you're not necessarily happy with the experience your child has had in their school setting, reach out to Advocating for Kids. Reach out to Advocating for Kids. They do some great work. Yeah, they do some great work in the Hampton Roads area. So reach out to them. All right. Brother Conrad, good luck on your run, man. We just had some great elections here in the Hampton Roads area. Our friend of the Beach Brothers show, Rodney Jordan, won his seat.
That he did, but it was close, but he still won. Pulled that out.
Man, it was close. Man, it was close because I checked in, I want to say Tuesday night, and it looked like, you know, the brother Billy Cook was ahead by 51 votes. And so I thought it was a wrap. I sent, you know, I was like, all right, salute Billy Cook. You know, he brought it home. Good job. Good job.
But as we would point out, it was the absentee votes that would help prevail in the end. And so it's a good thing to remember going forward, especially in this time with we're facing possibly an extended pandemic. There is a practice of safe voting, absentee, mail in. Learn more about it, just in case you may need to do it come November time.
Good stuff. That's Conrad, my comrade Conrad. He's crazy enough to run for the Virginia Beach City Council. Wow. Yes. Well, okay. I'm Seko Varner, your educator, your entertainer, your consultant. Our brother Jose couldn't make it today. He was making some money. Yeah, that monita. That's what's up. So, three of us, we're the Beach Brothers. We're all beach residents, and we talk about Virginia business and Virginia politics. So, subscribe to the show. Make sure you tap in, leave your comments and questions. We'll make sure we pose them. If you're a candidate or you're a seated politician and you like to join the beach show, holler, get in contact with this guy. Get in contact with Conrad. He'll help you. He'll get you set up. And if you're a business and you want to be highlighted like Tally and Twine was, like Advocating for Kids was, get in contact with Jose. He sets up our business sponsorships. We want to make sure that our businesses here in Virginia do well in or out of the pandemic. We just want us all to do well, be blessed, be prosperous, all that good stuff. And with that, I think we're out of here.
Indeed. I hope you guys have a great night.
All right. Keep it beachy.